Hello everyone and welcome to another Rombauer Hour. My name is Rich Allen, I'm the Vice President of Viticulture and Winemaking here at Rombauer, and I'm joined by a couple of faces you've seen before and one new face. So guys, why don't you introduce yourselves?
I am Alex Evans, Digital Marketing Manager.
Hello, I'm Luke Clayton, winemaker.
And I'm Heather McCarthy, Director of Marketing. I'm usually on the other side of the camera, so it's exciting to be here tonight. I'm also watching the comment box, so if you have questions throughout the live stream, please feel free to ask, and we will be sure to answer those live.
This has taken us almost 3 years to get Heather to come to this side and not be directing us from that side. But we're excited to do our final Rombauer Hour of the year. And tonight, it's a change of scenery. We're actually coming to you from our Sierra Foothills Winery, where we have our tasting room. If you've been here before, please make a comment in the chat box. But the reason we're here tonight is all about the Sierra Foothills and Zinfandel. And the reason is we feel that Zinfandel is the perfect wine to have with Thanksgiving. Luke.
Yes, that's right. Man. Yes, that's my name. Off to a great start. That's right. So tonight we're going to try some of our Zinfandels. So we have 4 Zinfandels. We've got our classic Zinfandel, our Fiddle Town single vineyard Zinfandel, and Twin Rivers single vineyard, and our Proprietor's selection. So we're going to taste through all of them, probably end up with some purple teeth or pirate teeth by the end of it. So it should be a good night.
Yeah, I'm excited. I did not drink a lot of Zinfandel before I joined the Rombauer team, but now these are some of my favorite wines that we make, so I'm excited to talk about them.
It's funny you say that because I agree. Before I started at Rombauer, I didn't drink very much Zinfandel, and now it's one of my favorites. Tonight, we are going to be pairing some delicious wines with food. We have Thanksgiving fast approaching, and so we could talk about what to pair a day of, but instead we're going to talk about the weekend after. We partnered with Amador Mobile Kitchen to put together some delicious recipes for your leftovers. So let's dive in.
Cool, right, I can't wait. Well, as you know, Richie, I love food.
I think everybody knows that, Luke.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're at home, the first thing you should do, if you haven't already, is open a bottle of wine, preferably some Zinfandel. And let's get into it.
And if you do, please let us know what you're drinking. We've heard a couple people have already commented, but please, let us know.
Are we drinking Zinfandel? Just in case you want to know.
Perfect.
So Luke, what wine are we going to start with?
All right, we're going to start with our classic 2020 Zinfandel.
So this is one of our most popular red wines. It comes obviously mainly from the Sierra Foothills. And it was in 1990 was the first time we started making this wine. And that was actually driven by Kona Rombauer, who came up here with another local winemaker, saw some of these amazing vineyards and tried the wines and decided this was one of the best places in the world to make a Zinfandel. So that's how we ended up here, and we're still here today. Now we have a winery and vineyards. It's kind of exciting.
That's right. Actually, Richie, about 80% of the fruit from up here, Amador and El Dorado County, actually comes and makes this blend part of our Zinfandel. We also have Napa Valley and our Lake County fruit that we blend in to make this classic. Do these regions have a common? Why are we planting Zinfandel there, Richie?
The reason we use these particular regions, the northern and Napa Valley, Lake County, and the majority of it is up here, is Zinfandel, the style we want to make, which is this very rich, ripe, full-bodied Zinfandel, you need to have a warm climate. And these particular regions are warmer, you can get fruit very, very ripe, and you can make a delicious, full-bodied Zinfandel or red wine. So that's why we're here.
So once those grapes have been picked in those different regions, what happens to them, Luke?
Well, we make them into wine. Very simple.
So easy, so simple.
Yes. So once we get the grapes, they come into the winery. Obviously, up here we have a winery that's Zinfandel, so the ones up here come up here, and the ones in Napa go to the Napa location. But so we will destem them and then put them through an optical sorter, and then unlike the Cabernet and Merlot that we can put in barrel, the Zinfandel we'll actually just put in tank and tank ferment it. And then from there we'll press it off using a basket press, and then it'll spend about 12 to 15 months, probably 12 months in barrel. Mainly American oak, some new American oak, and some old French in neutral barrels.
And the reason we use that American oak is with a riper style of wine, the American oak pairs a lot better. So American oak is very soft in tannin, it's got a lot of vanilla and lactone flavors, so it pairs really well with that ripe jammy fruit, and we just feel a small amount of American oak, we call it the lick of new oak, pairs perfectly with the wine.
Oh, the lick
So-
of new oak. But
Yep.
enough technical talk. Richie, do you mind grabbing us
yes.
some food? Because let's get into food pairing. We have 3 dishes tonight. All of the recipes are on rombauer.com. So if you find yourself with some Thanksgiving leftovers next week, please consider making one of these. And the first recipe that we're going to do, all of these pair well with Zinfandel, but we also have considered kind of the rest of your weekend activities as well. So the first recipe is going to be gnocchi that's made from mashed potatoes. Personally, there are never mashed potatoes left on my table, but I am very excited to try these. So here, I think they've actually paired it with a little bit of a cranberry sauce, but
There's always cranberry sauce left over, isn't there?
okay, Australian.
I think though, when you're talking about this dish, any tomato-based sauce is going to pair really nicely, especially with our Zinfandel. You talk about that red berry fruit character in the wine that works so nicely with those different sauces. And I think you had something.
Yes,
the lamb.
our president Bob actually a couple weeks ago was at a wine dinner and had a lamb bolognese that he had said was the best pairing he has ever had with our Zinfandel, which for him is a very bold statement. And he made me very hungry, so I could see that going over gnocchi. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, at home, you know, my wife's half Italian, so we have a lot of bolognese, but any ragu, tomato-based ragu, I make a duck ragu, which is delicious. Often have that with Zinfandel. You know, anything that's full flavored. And it's the cranberry in this I love. The cranberry and a little bit of herb, because it brings out that character in the wine. And there's a lot of what I call like craisins, like dried cranberry aroma in the classic Zinfandel.
That was craisins, not craisins.
Just craisins.
Crazy raisins.
And I feel like that brings it out in the wine.
Actually, the cranberry sauce is really well. I agree there, Richie.
Yeah, this to me is like it's Thanksgiving flavors, but you don't feel like you're eating a Thanksgiving dinner again, which at a certain point you don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get enough turkey for the first couple of days.
Yes.
All right.
And I'm hungry, so I'm finishing mine. You guys do.
Well, then Luke, what are we having next?
Well, while we watch Richie eat, we're going to have a 2019 Fiddle Town single vineyard. There's a beautiful shot of it there. Pairing with some cheese, and once Richie's finished eating, he'll explain where this fruit comes from.
Yeah, so our Fiddle Town Zinfandel, it's a single vineyard Zinfandel. It comes from Gino Rinaldi's 110-year-old Zinfandel vineyard. It's a unique site on a gentle rolling hillside with Shenandoah series clay sandy loam. And you can see those old vines there on the screen. This is taken at the end of the harvest, so the vines are starting to lose their leaves, but there's no trellising. It's just planted on an 8x8 grid. You have what's called a head tray vine or a bush vine, and it just grows by itself. They're ungrafted, so most vineyards in North America are on grafted rootstocks. These aren't grafted. There's a great photo of Gino. He's mid-80s. I've been working with Gino for about 20 years. And what I love about this particular vineyard is the wine, we really don't have to do anything to it. It comes in, we crush it. There's a great aerial shot of the old vines. And we let it ferment. If we remember to add yeast, we add yeast. If we don't remember, it just ferments and goes. It's really all about the quality of the site and not the winemaking. It's a very hands-off for the winemaking team.
You told me once that the color of the Fiddle Town really belies the intensity and depth, and pouring it into the glass right after the California Zinfandel, I definitely noticed that difference off the bat.
It's definitely, it's funny because it lies to you. It looks like it's going to be this light red wine because it's so light in color. But the character of that vineyard and the quality of those old vines, the depth and concentration, it's probably one of the most concentrated Zinfandels we make every year. But you wouldn't be able to tell that from the colour. No. So it's quite amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful, this wine. You know, being dry farmed, we're really relying on Mother Nature to what gives us. We get slight variations every year. This one right now is like, it's 19, so there's a little age on it, starting to get like that dried fruits to it, but still
it's almost like a black tea quality to it.
Yeah.
But the palate weight's really beautiful. And then we're blending up the 2020 ones in the lab in the winery the other day, and just the difference in vintages. It was a bit richer, but you smell it and you know, oh, that's Fiddle Town.
It has a particular character to it on the bench. You know straight away.
Yeah. That's probably why people
And our
love
customers love it.
Our customers do love it, so sadly this is sold out. Sorry, but if you have not tried our Fiddle Town, you are in for a treat, and we highly recommend joining our Zinfandel Wine Club. So you will be the first to get access to the 2020 vintage when it releases in March. So stay tuned for that. It always sells out very quickly and deservedly so.
Sorry, I'm eyeing off the next dish.
What is that next dish we have?
Okay, the next dish is our ham hand pie, and you cannot say that. They're laughing.
fast.
Exactly. When you try and say it very quickly, it all tends to blur together. But it looks
Ham
delicious.
hand pie.
It is kind of a ham empanada, as I would say, for those of you who have ham on your Thanksgiving table. Or I'm gonna pick. Oh,
So it's almost like a chicken
just pick
pot
it up,
pie, but
yeah.
with ham.
yes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
gotcha.
pick-
All right.
I mean, it's called a hand pie, guys.
It's called a ham pie.
It's a good sign when all of us are quiet.
Yes.
Yeah, which is hard to do.
Yes.
I love this dish because I think it's the ultimate kind of sweet and savory.
Yeah,
You get
the
that really
pastry.
ripe, beautiful
Yeah.
fruit characteristic of the Fiddle Town, and then you pair with that ham, that really kind of salty, savory
Yeah.
flavor. They're super nice pairing.
Especially, like a pot pie like this, it has a lot of celery and celery seed in it, in the white sauce. And that particular flavour, it's not the same as the black tea you see in the wine, but there's definitely like this herbal character in the
herbaceous.
background of the Fiddle
Yep.
Town. And that pairs well, but yeah, I mean, I love a pot pie with a white sauce. I might finish the whole thing while you guys continue to talk.
You do it, Richie. You do it. It's delicious.
Anything else on the pot pie, or should we move on to the next wine?
I think you should move. I mean, again, I like this because it's ham, but it also, if you have any leftover pastry dough, unless you're one of those super
Yep.
ambitious people that makes your own pie pastry doughs, like this is another use for that as well. So,
So then the next wine we have to taste is our Twin Rivers Zinfandel. This comes from our estate vineyard in El Dorado County. A personal favorite of mine. Let's get that in our glass.
Richie, do you have any?
I do. Sorry, I lost my I was too busy eating.
Actually, real quick, we had a question from Scott. Will you be sharing the recipes? And yes, Scott, those recipes are going to be online at rombauer.com. Everything that we're tasting here tonight.
So,
Thank you.
Twin Rivers El Dorado. Fun fact about this wine. This is actually the first Rombauer wine I ever tried. My first day at work at Rombauer was August 23rd, 2004. I was an intern. And that day, Kerner was up at his house up above the winery in St. Helena, and Greg took me and another intern up there to meet Kerner and look at his vintage car collection. And Kerner said, why don't you come sit out on the deck with me and have a glass of wine? So he sends me into the wine fridge to grab a bottle of wine, and there's some very nice bottles of wine in Mr. Rombauer's wine fridge. I'm like, I'll just grab the Rombauer one, not knowing what it was. And it was a 2001 Twin Rivers Zinfandel. And that was the first time in my life I'd ever had a Zinfandel. And it was, I don't think I'll ever forget it. Like, perfect 4-day up on the hill at the Rombauer's house, having a glass of wine. And it was pretty magical.
I love that.
Did
story.
he pour you a Kerner-sized pour, or was this a regular glass of wine?
So it was one bottle of wine, and we all had one glass, and the bottle was gone. So it was definitely a Kerner
Four
pour.
people.
And
Yeah.
I think Kerner was maybe wanting to go get a second bottle, but we were all pretty keen to get out of there because it'd been a long day. But it was a lot of fun. And what's really funny is back then as well, Rombauer, we didn't own that vineyard, the Twin Rivers vineyard. We were purchasers of fruit from that. And then in 2010, that vineyard came up for sale, and we purchased it, and now we own it. And I remember going up there with Kerner and looking at it, and we'd been left derelict for 3 years. It was in a bad state, and Kerner said, no, it's a good vineyard, we should buy it. And I was quite hesitant. Said it's going to cost a lot of money to get this vineyard back up to the quality that you want to make that particular wine. And it took us about 5 years of nurturing the vines, and yeah, here it is. So
Happy he made that decision.
yeah, I'm glad it happened. And,
It all panned out. Great.
So we took you. We have a little video to show you of this vineyard too. It's absolutely stunning.
Here we go. Look at that, Twin Rivers. It's 1,600 feet elevation. It's 148 planted acres. It's sandy loam soil. We have all year round cover crop. We'll try to when it grows. The fruit profile there, it's a lot more darker fruit than what we see from our Amador fruit. But we have a little bit of Petite Syrah, our Portuguese varieties, and we are doing a little replanting out there, and we're planting a little bit of Barbera,
Nice.
a couple extra Zinfandel clones, just to
How,
spice it
as
up.
the crow flies, how far is that vineyard from where we're standing?
It's 2 miles behind us.
Oh, wow.
It's
You knew in
literally
miles.
right behind us. Yeah.
Okay.
3.2 kilometers.
So actually,
I was going to say, I did not expect a mile answer, but I was happy to hear that.
oh, miles. Oh, yeah. I'm in America. I use miles.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a really interesting site as well. As Luke said, it's 148 acres. It's all these gentle rolling hillsides. And the soil is incredibly consistent, but what changes is the depth of the soil. So you have some sections where the vineyard, you have very shallow soil, and there's a granite outcropping below it, and vines that are more stressed, smaller, and ripen quickly. And so we do a lot of precision viticulture out there, a lot of precision picking sections of blocks. And it's, I don't know, it's one of my favorite vineyards.
I love it, and I love that it's it's such a big, important part of the classic California blend. But at the same time, when you see it on its own as a single vineyard, I think it's really special just to see those key attributes that they bring to the blend.
Yeah, and you can see this is the 20, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, the 20 has this incredible, like, cranberry. Like, you go back to
Did you
that-
go back?
If
Yes.
you guys have gnocchi left,
Yeah,
I
go back to
don't. But if
gnocchi.
you go back, you'll see that floral character and spice to the wine that does so well with fruit dishes. But yeah, it's a cool spot.
Can confirm.
Yeah. Next pairing.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, last on our plate is the Kentucky Hot Brown sandwich. This is
Say
an
that
open
again.
Kentucky Hot Brown. This is an open face sandwich with leftover turkey, bacon, tomato, some cheese, all toasted. And Evans, why was this originally created?
So this was originally created by a restaurant specifically to cater to its late night customers who had been having a lot of fun. Oh, I can point the finger right back at you, my friend. So one of the reasons we wanted to have it today was first of all, it uses turkey, and obviously there's a lot of such instances when there's a lot of leftover turkey. But two, it will make a very good breakfast after, lunch after sandwich in case you have maybe had a glass of Zinfandel too many or a whiskey that maybe you shouldn't have the night before.
Yeah.
I know.
So Friday morning,
Yes, thank you.
Kentucky
Yes.
Hot Brown.
Exactly.
for
Try
breakfast.
it, do it. It's not that difficult. And it is, a really good, but the tomato has a nice bright acidity too, so it's not quite as rich as everything else on the plate would imply.
Yeah, I can see you can drink that with some Twin Rivers for breakfast. Oh, perfect.
I was thinking lunchtime. You know, it's always lunchtime somewhere in the world, right?
True.
Yeah, those eastern states, they're ahead of us. But yeah, no, it pairs deliciously. Everything, Zinfandel, you can pair it with food. That's the beautiful thing about Zin. It's got enough acid there, and the juicy that pairs with all these. But sometimes you just want to watch your favourite TV show and a glass of wine and just sit there, and it goes perfectly well with the TV or the Rombauer Hour like you're watching now.
I think Cheryl is the one who describes it. She's like, it's like a cocktail. You don't need anything else. You just pour and sit down and it's like,
Although a turkey sandwich is pretty good.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I'm a
Good
sucker for
combo.
gravy, so I like to take all the drippings and make gravy any opportunity I have whenever I'm cooking, and cover my food in it. And this is really good. It's a little bit
Either
of
that or
gravy
he hasn't
there.
been fed in 2 days. He's like,
Luke could
stuffing
attest to that. I'll even keep my gravy, like if I make like a leg of lamb or something, and use the gravy the next day to make risotto.
oh,
So it's-
I'm available for dinner.
Luke's had this many, many
Yeah.
times. So,
I will bring
yes.
Zinfandel. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good call. But this is delicious.
It is delicious. What we didn't talk about tonight is just your traditional turkey sandwich with your leftovers. I think
Yes.
that's such a popular one the day
Yes.
after Thanksgiving, and it would pair great with Zinfandel or Chardonnay.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Put a little cranberry sauce on it, and,
Yep.
and that, again, another perfect Zinfandel pairing.
Well, I suppose we've got to get to the final wine, don't we?
Proprietor, yes.
Proprietor selection. So
excited.
the Proprietor range of wines is the top tier of wine that we make. We make a Proprietor selection from each of the varietals that we make. Some years we don't make them, some years we do. It really depends on the quality of the vintage. And what it is, it's a selection of the best barrels from the best lots of the year. So it really is a step up in quality. It's kind of the winemaking team showing off their skills, their blending skills. But it's not a single vineyard wine, so no vineyard has a free run into a Proprietor selection every year. If the quality is not there, if it doesn't have the right depth and concentration, it won't go in. Obviously, there's certain blocks in vineyards and certain vineyards which are most years very, very good. but I don't think we've had a vineyard make it into a proprietor wine every year that we've made them. So
It's the pinnacle of the portfolio.
it is the pinnacle, yeah.
And what I love, Richie, is when you talk about how you have picked that reserve quality wine in the vineyard, right? You've isolated in the
there's
vineyard.
definitely,
That's reserve wine.
With how we manage vineyards and the metrics that we track in terms of sugar loading and color loading and how the vineyard grows, we have a really good idea of certain blocks when we pick it, that's going to be earmarked for reserve grade or proprietor grade now. And it'll, I don't want to say it gets closer attention, like everything gets, we always hope that everything is going to make
Everyone's still going to be
reserve grade. Definitely with the interns, let's say, we'll be like, hey, that's some of our top stuff, don't mess it up.
Yeah.
You know, and put a little more pressure on them, scare them.
Yeah. That's right. Interns, are you listening? Hope you listen to us during Harvard.
So please compare this, because a lot of people have had Classic California.
Yes.
Please compare Proprietor Selection with Classic California for those who haven't had the pleasure yet.
Definitely. So the classic one is, it's a lot more floral spice, a lot more red fruit, and very, very plush. While the proprietors that we're drinking now, it's a lot more darker, a lot more depth, opulent, rounder, richer, and focused, and has more weight on the palate. It's just a bigger, richer, more refined Zinfandel. Compared to the classic.
It gets a little more new oak as well.
Yeah.
Like the classic Zin's only about 10% new American oak, whereas the proprietor can be as much as 25% in a really good year. So yeah, and whenever you use more new oak, you have to have more fruit concentration to stand up to it. Otherwise you'll overpower the wine with oak flavor. So yeah, it's just
I mean, I think it's delicious.
Yeah, everyone always says, what makes the proprietor wine different to the rest? I'm like, it's just better. If you just leave it at that, it's better. It's pretty simple.
Well, on that note, when we were planning this segment, we wanted to come up to the Sierra foothills and talk about our vineyards because they're all so incredible up here. But Richie, one of my favorite quotations from you, and I'm going to get it somewhat wrong, as I often do, is when you're looking at new vineyards specifically, if the vineyard's not right, the wine's not going to be right. And you really put that. You took that philosophy, as you were mentioning a little bit earlier, about Twin Rivers when we acquired it. So can you explain a little bit more about when we're acquiring new vineyards, which we have recently? Woohoo! What do you do? What do you look for when planning for the future?
Yeah, so I mean, quite often, the best way to look at it is you can't make great wine from bad grapes. You've got to have high quality fruit to make a great product, right?
Yep.
And so if you think about that, all of winemaking starts in the vineyard. And sort of upsets the winemaking a little bit. Like winemaking is a preservation of quality exercise, but when we're looking for vineyards, we're always looking for the highest quality plant material to plant. So there's some shots here of Gold Flats, which is right behind us outside here. This is a vineyard we replanted in the last couple of years. This is a multi-generational project. We've planted some varieties out here, Syrah, Touriga, Barbera, which are very suited to hot, arid climates, to trial them in this region for future generations. And a vineyard, if you think about it, has a lifespan hopefully of at least 20 years, hopefully 100 years. Hopefully, like...
No pressure.
Yeah, so a couple of winemakers after me, the generations will be making it. And then out at Fiddle Town, across from Gino Rinaldi's, we acquired a property directly across the street we call Rombauer's Fiddle Town estate. It has an old block of Zinfandel that was planted in 1967, which makes incredibly different Zinfandel to the Fiddle Town, but fits in our blend perfectly. And it's got a series of undulating steep slopes divided by 2 creeks, a couple of ridge lines. This is a new vineyard we'll develop over the next 10 years, hopefully, to really keep us at the forefront of quality grapes, so that my job and Luke's job is easier when it comes to harvest, and we can just be hands off with the winemaking and let the quality shine through.
And you reap the benefits.
Yep, they do.
Yep.
So
We're so excited to see those vineyards come online and those beautiful wines
it's going to
made
take
from those vineyards.
a long time, just so you know. It's just,
But we're talking a lot about the future, and we also want to kind of take a step back and talk about the past. We have been hosting Rombauer Hours for 2.5 years now, and we want to thank everyone that's tuned in tonight from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for always joining us on these live streams. I've been watching the comment box. We have Texas, Illinois, Florida, Colorado, certainly California here.
How does it feel for the first time in 3 years to not be over there telling us what to do, but be over
great.
here telling us what to do?
It's very fitting. I'm glad for the last Rombauer of the year, I'm happy to be on the live stream. So thanks for having me. But an opportunity to look back, we put together a really fun video of just some clips throughout the year. So we'll play that now.
Hello everyone and welcome to another Rombauer Hour.
And next to me I got
Andrew Holloway, resident trustworthy American.
So check this out. So, since you guys look a bit like sports commentators here, and you're already stabbing your oyster, this is not about force, gentlemen. This is about finesse, okay?
Hello everyone and welcome to Rombauer Hour, erosion into our streams and rivers for fish.
Yeah, so it really kind of has a trickle-down effect. No pun there intended, but
So really, he's on that fine line between greatness and horribleness. So.
Yep. And I ride that line hard.
Spoon of ground garlic.
I can see Oki rolling his eyes at your turkey burger.
Sorry, Oki.
We're all learning.
You would put bacon on this?
Of course.
Well, funny we should talk about bacon, my little plug here. Tonight our show is all about one of the most important aspects of winemaking, and that is barrels. Hello everyone and welcome to Rombauer Hour.
Age before beauty. The size of these things is about, I don't know, the size of 10 of those.
That's like a golf ball.
Yeah,
Why was
so-
it picked today, Richie?
It wasn't picked today because we're here doing this. So
Yeah. Because if the yeast aren't happy, the wine's not happy. So,
it's a good way of putting it
if,
actually. So 2020 Sauvignon Blanc, I actually think is probably the best vintage we've made so far.
I think so.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Rombauer Hour. We are back again, the three jokers. Well, you can see we're all going to get ourselves in trouble.
Hopefully there's no more eye rolls on my count. Sorry, there you go.
All right, so good evening everyone and welcome to Rombauer Hour Red Wine Harvest Edition. As you can see from my beard, we're just finishing up harvest.
Yeah, I have a more cleaned up beard rather than scraggle.
These gentlemen went to the barber for the show. I decided to go natural.
Welcome everybody to the holiday edition and ladies' night. Wow, that looked so good. Thank you so much, Betty, for sharing that beautiful recipe with us.
See, these are enjoyable dishes. Richie's are like, work it down. That'd be awesome. I could go with that.
Blue cheese.
Blue cheese would work. Yeah.
Still on your line,
Well, yeah, you get a little bit of savoriness as well.
Oh, Luke with the one-liners tonight.
Luke one day will be in charge of like kindergarten, just telling a joke. And don't worry about Richie. He's okay. He's relaxing in Hawaii, having cocktails. I know, and getting burned.
So what we got here is a paella. You can tell it's going, getting ready for y'all to try.
Better not chow down.
Luke hasn't said much, but his bowl's empty.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers to harvest.
Cheers to harvest.
Cheers, thanks
Cheers.
guys.
Cheers, guys. See you again soon.
Cheers everyone, thank you.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Have a great night, guys. Cheers.
Cheers. We'll see you all next time. Cheers. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Boogie boogie.
Boogie boogie.
Till next time, guys. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. All right, so just to clarify, I've been watching the comment box and some of you are saying, wait, you can't be done with these. We're not done. We just wanted to recap the year and how much fun we've had in the last 2.5, really the 3 seasons, I'd say, of Rombauer Hour.
It's definitely been 3
Yeah.
distinct seasons, trust me.
We also, we didn't forget Yuba City. Someone wrote in the comment box, can't forget Yuba City, and North Carolina. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at where we've come from, the very first live show, where it was me and Andrew sitting in front of a laptop with a microphone, with a tape measure between us, so we're 6 feet apart, with Heather remotely on Zoom, because it was the start of COVID and we're trying to keep everyone apart, to a full production with scripts and rehearsals and lights and cameras and a whole production crew on the other side there. Shout out to Jesse, who works for Rombauer, who's put in a lot of
And is now
effort
humiliated.
with the rest of the marketing team to make the winemakers look less stupid. It's been a lot of fun. So.
Well, of all of those Rombauer hours, which was your favorite? Heather, go.
Well, he was in one of the clips we showed. We partnered with Hog Island Oyster Company and worked with their ecologist, Gary, who was wonderful. He gave us a tour around the property, and then he actually came on the live and he showed us how to properly barbecue an oyster, and it was so much fun.
Luke.
Yeah, that was definitely a good one. There was a couple of good ones, like
A couple.
Yeah.
like looking back, there's a few I remember, like the one when Richie was getting burnt in Hawaii. That was a good one. and
I
like
remember your dance moves.
Yeah.
So sorry, that's the one constant.
when we had
for
some
me.
issues and we had to do. I definitely stand a certain way, but the best one, of course, was when our wives came on and did the desserts, and
you got
it was a good fun afternoon. That was for sure.
You got lots of eye rolls from your wife.
Oh yeah, I think we were like 18. Yeah, that was a good one. If you slow mode it down, it was classic.
Okay. I feel like you had to say that, but it was very fun.
Yes.
So yes, I agree. For me, I'm a giant nerd, so I love the barrel edition. Learned a lot. Then, who doesn't love live music?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a cool one.
Yes.
That was very
Do you have another favorite other than the first one?
No, actually, I was thinking about it while you guys were talking. My favorite one was one particular show where, it's live, right? So when something goes wrong, you just have to keep going. And one of the other winemakers spilled wine all down the front of Luke, down his crutch. And you guys couldn't see it, but Luke's pants were like covered in red wine, and he just carried on like it was nothing. It was fantastic.
It made his dance moves all the little bit sweeter.
It did.
Yes. We would also love, speaking in the chat, if you do have any ideas, we've covered a lot of topics from different foods to different production to different vineyards to we've been in people's kitchens, multiple people's. Please drop them in the chat. We would love to hear
We were
from
invited
you.
into their kitchens, by the way.
Yes. We were.
Well, that kind of brings us to the end. So I just want to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with us silly winemakers jabbering on forever. If you're looking for wine for Thanksgiving, all these wines that we tried tonight, except the Fiddle Town, as well as the rest of our regular portfolio, is available online. And right now, we have 1 cent shipping for 6 bottles or more. So if you'd like to get some wine delivered quickly, that is the time to do it is now, because we're probably running out of time for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we're actually a little running out of ground shipping, or time for ground shipping for Thanksgiving, but look for an update tomorrow on 2-Day Air.
From the marketing department.
Yes. But in general, 1 cent shipping, 6 bottles, these wines to your door anytime.
So as Heather said, we will be back next year in some sort of new format, having as much fun as usual, with a few new surprises. And I just want to say to you all, cheers. Thank you for watching. Cheers, guys.
Happy holidays.
Cheers.
And we'll see you all again next year.
Cheers.
Cheers.